Thank you, Kath. Brian, anybody signed up for public input? Is there anybody who wishes to speak on any issue before the board? Okay, Kathy, for the record, all members are present. We do have a set of minutes, gentlemen, from the November 20th meeting. Does anybody wish to move those in for approval?
Second.
Moved by Art, second by Gill. Any changes that anybody wishes to make? If not, then all in favor of approving as is, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. We do have a bill pay, relatively small one, $109,861.89. The vouchers are 2017, 2192 through 2257. Need a motion to pay these bills.
So moved.
Moved by Randy. Do we have a second? Second by Art. Any bills that anybody wishes to hold? If not, then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Departments, Paul, how's highway doing?
I'll let you know from this weekend. Everything's suited up. We're ready to go. First snow hasn't happened. As long as everything's safe to everyone's feet. I have to tell you, everybody that called my office, if you didn't have your leaves and your brush out by this morning, don't put it out. Because I think this is the last week for it. We covered the town at least 10 times with the leaves. If they didn't get it, the leaves might have been it. If there's something in it that pulled stuff up or they had branches in it. But I'm hoping by Thursday, the trees out and the shippers out, they're going to try to cover every part of the town before Thursday. And we're going to shut it down. Once the roads start getting slippery and we start working on our plow trucks and all that, we don't have time. The shipper's been out from, I think, the end of March, just about every week, out through the city except for a couple weeks they were failing. So I've never seen so much shipping trees done this year. I think a lot of it has to do with the ash borer or the tree cut down, but there's more shipping than we've ever done. That's about it.
Robin's not here. Can you explain the policy for parking? 'Cause by now we're into the no parking policy.
Yeah. November 16th started. We have a little recorded it. I believe 2:30 a.m. It's right out there. There's no parking on any town road. We haven't enforced it because of the weather thing yet. I see some towns delayed the parking ban and all that. We just council's making it go on like this enough we can start complaining about it. People need more comfortable with it. Today we started making up our little warning notices and all that, and I'm actually going to have the next shift starting in a week and a half, 2 weeks. And they'll go out the first week and I keep the notices out. And after that we start calling them the phone, have them go around town and start doing tickets up. So that's what we're doing first.
Okay. Thank you. Anything for Paul? Thank you, Paul. Rich, water sewer?
Quick update, I work that we get paid for from the county sewer. Sewer specialties has been in, it was last Friday and this week. They hope to have the work done, close to the end of this week. They've already found a couple issues that he's notified me on, so they're working out on the Town Line Road, Blizzard Road, and Moyer Road area. Stop check on a couple times this year, they're doing a really good job. Like I said, they have found a couple issues that will address here within the next couple weeks. Also, Wendell survey crew was out. They've been doing a survey on the Town Line Road pump stations, also the pump station that's in front of Aldi's, getting ready for the generators that we need to run.
As far as the I&I project, I believe our meeting has been moved forward to next week, Wednesday, whatever that is, the 11th, around the 13th maybe, 14th?
If they're done this week, we'll put down.
Yeah. If the bill is not able to be approved by then we'll have to try and encumber it into next year. I'll have to try and remember to do that.
Like I said, if it goes good and we don't have to get that snow up this way, the way they were moving along and things were going good, so
Very good. Anything for Rich?
I don't. Could, I ask Paul one other quick question before?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Richie. Paul, did we pump down the lake at all to give us any more freeboard before all the snow starts to fall and the spring comes and we have flooding over there again?
No, we didn't. Right now, we haven't had an issue. The lake's been down as long as we wanted to. We wanted to keep that Clapper Valley open and closed when we get heavy rain. As far as pumping it down, we have to lay a hose across, Mill Lake to pump it down. So, we sort of shut the road down.
Okay, I didn't know if you did some preliminary things during the fall of the year to give us a little more freeboard prior to that.
Didn't Art used to drain from, pump down from the drains along, across the side of the road?
That actually all eventually does go down anyway with the water in the lake. And we can't when we pump the drains down on the side of the road, when we get flooding there, until the lake gets down, it goes up really quick. And right now, the lake is down. The only way you can lower the lake level is by laying a pump 6 inch pump from the backyard where the discharge is now, down across the road and into the creek to shut that one over the lake. Right now, it's working, and we got kids out at that house a little bit too, because as Tim will tell you, there's very little room for air in that whole system. We found a couple spots where like 200 inches of silt sensor, we'll just pump. I have talked to CMC, keep that pump. Got a letter from certain residents, south of Wheatfield that are trying along Warren Road that come out to use the wide back into the lake. That's hot right now. I haven't heard a whole lot of it. I'm assuming the pond is pretty clean.
I just wanted to follow up on that.
Yep.
Mike, recreation?
Good evening. Just a couple of quick hitters for the youth center. Tomorrow night we are having our annual movie night. We are going to be seeing The Elf, starring Will Ferrell. Friday night we are going to have Nerf night. On Tuesday the 12th we'll have our trivia night where we do some fun games, kind of like trivia you'd see at Applebee's. And then we will have Nerf night again on Tuesday the 19th and then Friday the 22nd. And that'll be our last day for the fall. Also, we had our annual tree lighting ceremony this past Saturday. I want to thank our friends from St. Johnsburg for safely escorting Santa Claus to us. Kids went wild. It was awesome. We had like 50 kids. We've had more in the past. We've had less in the past. I think scheduling-wise, there were some events going on. I know Lewiston had something going on, Town Ag or something going on. People are just all over the place. So I'm just very excited with the effort that my staff put in. Nickel City brought the house down again. They're a good show. It was a good time, and I wanted to thank Supervisor Cliff. Never missed an event in my tenure. Not one. You're like Cal Ripken. You're like the Iron Man. You came to everything. So appreciate the loyalty to the department.
Thank you.
And that's all I got.
Okay, anything for Mike? Other Mike? Anything in buildings? I think everyone said pass with a cross mark in it and fail. What was that all about? Okay, anything for Mike? Thank you. That brings us to Tim. What's going on with Wendell? Anybody? Matt, I guess we're on motions.
Okay. First motion was forwarded by Bernie, the grant writer. Whereas the town board desires to continue the process of acquiring the funds to complete the town of Wheatfield Municipal Agricultural and Farmland Implementation Plan to review farmland zoning laws, and whereas the town board desires to apply for financial assistance from the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program, and whereas the town board commits to providing the required $750 in local matching funds in cash to ensure the timely implementation of the proposed project, therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes and submits an application for the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program for the Wheatfield Municipal Agriculture and Farmland Implementation Plan in the total project amount of $18,750, and will request $15,000 in grant funding, and be it further resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to sign all documents and agreements related to the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program application, and it is resolved that Robert B. Cliff, as supervisor of the town of Wheatfield, is hereby authorized and directed to file an application for grant funds from the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program in an amount of $15,000 of the approved funding, and upon approval of said request to enter into and execute a project agreement with the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program for such financial assistance to the town of Wheatfield for the proposed Wheatfield Municipal Agriculture and Farmland Implementation Plan.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Randy made the motion. Do we have a second? I'll go ahead and second. Anything on the question? The focus group has been working on this for a great deal of time. That's, I think, Doris, you're on that group, correct? And there are a bunch of people that have been working on this for, well, probably since the Farmland Protection Plan was implemented. And this is the next step in that project. So congratulations on getting this far. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from town board to approve the consulting services agreement with Links Technologies for computer and IT services to the town for a minimum term of 24 months at a fixed rate for base services at $2,450 per month. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute the consulting services agreement on behalf of the town upon final review and approval of the contract formed by the town attorney.
I'll second it.
Okay, anything on the question?
What this is gonna provide the town department is daytime computer support with, with the WAC and, quite a bit of daytime support. We have nighttime support, Bill Bodine will come in, once a week, Wednesday night, fix things. But limited to one night a week, fix everything, and, the problem some of the departments are having is during the day, if something is broke, they have to wait for calling Wednesday night, and sometimes that, we need to cut it up, and the way the week to get things done, but it wasn't typically used by a lot of departments. Another thing that's gonna be in this agreement is we're gonna provide, at least one day or a couple hours of training needed, on the, anti-phishing, the email. For some users, I mean, I think that they just scan email, they can unsubscribe to it and it'll go away. When you have a scanned email and if you unsubscribe to it, it doesn't go away, you get 10 times more email. Because now they know they have a lot of phishing. So they're gonna provide some basic training on, anti-phishing, just to see what these bad guys, Romania and Russia and all over the world, what they're trying to do. They're trying to make money out of it. They're only doing it because they make money at doing what they're doing. So we need to learn on how not to respond to a UPS message if you got a package associated with it. Today they just recommended if you didn't order anything and you're not expecting it from UPS, don't click on it. You do anything that doesn't make sense for the line of business that you're in, you just delete. Some other things that are gonna happen with this contract is that computer backups will be done through them, antivirus will be done through them, web filtering will be done through them. And the town's already has contract with some other companies to provide those services, so we're gonna be saving money from, some of these other three contracts I mentioned. So all in all, it's gonna cost us about $10,000 more a year, but we're picking up valuable daytime student support, and I know Chief Department is taking advantage of that, but, we've had a part-time person doing it, and he's done a great job doing what he can do part-time. So that's what we're doing right now. And, this will get it, hopefully, so we don't start having the problems down the road. But they're gonna have an online, tracking system, so if somebody has problems, printing something, or the company goes, issue the tablet or computer, they'll log in, respond into their, tracking system, and someone will get a call back in 14 hours. Any department has questions?
I got one, Matt, you were working on an opt-out, an early opt-out provision. How did that work out?
They indicated in order to take it down to a lesser minimum term than 24 months, they would increase the monthly rate by $300, which I think no one agreed to. We did add, however, and I think it's in the package, I did have them add
For cause?
a specific, clause for cause that we or them could pull out, at any time, for cause, and that was in the, term and termination section, the second paragraph, that I had them end that. It was sort of implied in the previous version of the contract, but this shores it up and puts it right out there that if they're not doing something that they agree to do, we are within our rights to terminate it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that clause.
Okay. Anybody else?
The system, we can also do that, off-site storage too,
No off-site storage, it's gonna be off-site backup.
off-site backup.
So our file servers that are on site will have, real-time information stored in town hall. But when you do your nightly backup, instead of them being on
Tape, that's maybe in a computer room at Town Hall. The backups will be done through the cloud, through the internet, and stored at Lynx Technology at their office.
Will they give us a written policy on that, how that happens? Can we ask for that? The reason I'm asking is.
If we need to restore something, I'm sure that there's going to be a vehicle or a method to do that, and then they'll, give us training on how to do that.
I guess what I'm asking is, put in a new ECMS system in town, and that automatically has to get backed up, which is perfect, that's a part of the process to do that. But, I just wanna, if they can give us a policy that we can put into the clerk's office for, because I've got grant money for ECMS, and now I need to, buy some software, I'm doing this off-site backup.
Yeah.
Some sort of written policy, that would be a good help.
Well, we have backup with Springbrook too, and I think there's some money that we pay Springbrook to do some backups that maybe we can not, offset those costs that we're paying to some vendors to provide backup services. If we can do all of our backup with Lynx, that'll save us time and money.
And then will they help us with the downloading of all of our electronic records into ECMS? Is that,
No.
Okay.
I mean, they're not going to do regular support. I mean, they're more of an emergency type stuff.
Gentlemen, anybody else? If not, then all in favor of approving this service, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from Water and Sewer and the Budget Director to authorize an increase in the town of Wheatfield's water rates of 20 cents per 1,000 gallons of usage and an increase in the town of Wheatfield's sewer rate of 5 cents per 1,000 gallons of usage, both due to an increase of 15 cents in the cost of water from the Niagara County Water District and reduced consumption. Said increases bring the water rates for usage from the 190 $1.90 per thousand gallons to $2.10 per thousand gallons, and will bring the sewer rates for usage from 95 cents per thousand gallons to $1 per 1,000 gallons usage. Said increase would result in minimum water sewer bill being $21.70. Said increase shall be effective for water and sewer bills beginning and issued as of January 1st, 2018.
Does anybody wish to make this motion?
Second.
Moved by Art, second by Randy. Anything on the question? The county had not raised its bill for, I think it was 13 years, if I recall. The county did a study, had the county engineering group do a study of where the county water system is going, and they came back, the engineers came back and said that in order to do what we need to be able to do in the next 10 years and 20 years, that we needed to raise rates. The board took a long, hard look at that. The water board took a long, hard look at that. I didn't happen to be at the meeting the day it was voted on, but when you read through the background as to where it comes from, you can understand why it had to happen. The legislature was very critical. It took about 3 months to finally approve it. The legislature finally did approve it. And now we're forced with our rates having to raise because the county raised its rates. But it is in the long-term health of Niagara County water. So that's my commercial. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next.
Next motion was proposed by the Bergholz Fire Company. Whereas the Bergholz Fire Company owns a house and garage located at 2474 Niagara Road, and whereas said house and garage has been used for training by the town and county fire departments, benefiting the public and the town, and providing valuable training to first responders, and whereas now that this house has been trained in for 10 years, its current condition requires it to be taken down, and whereas due to the current condition of the property, it can serve no further benefit to training for the town of Wheatfield and Niagara County first responders, and whereas Bergholz Fire Company would like the assistance of the town highway department to assist with the demolition and transportation of clean material to the landfill, and whereas the Bergholz Fire Company has indicated it will file all permits required by the building department and pay all disposal fees associated with this, and whereas the town board of the town of Wheatfield declares it shall assist in said demolition and transportation on behalf of Bergholz Fire Company due to the public benefit provided by Bergholz Fire Company to the town of Wheatfield and the county of Niagara over the past 10 years, allowing and utilizing the structure and garage for training purposes of first responders. And whereas the town highway department has calculated that the approximate cost of town labor expense in the demolition and trucking materials with regard to the structure will cost the town $187.08, of which the Bergholz Fire Company will be responsible for reimbursing said town's labor costs. Be it resolved that the town of Wheatfield Highway Department may contact and arrange with Bergholz Fire Company with regard to coordination and scheduling of said demolition at the highway department's earliest convenience, taking into account its primary duties, which shall take priority over said demolition, and be it further resolved the town of Wheatfield shall be reimbursed for its labor expenses involved in assisting Bergholz Fire Company in the demolition of the house and garage in the amount of $187.08.
Okay. Art and Larry, anything on the question? If not, then all in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from Recreation Department to authorize the purchase by the Recreation Department of a Kubota Z725KH-60 mower from Niagara Implement on the NJPA bid discount for a price of $7,643.22 to be paid out of the Recreation Department's 2017 budget.
So moved.
Moved by Gil, second by Art. Anything on this question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion is follow-up from the Recreation Department to authorize the Recreation Department to declare surplus of 2006 Toro zero-turn mower and to allow Recreation Department to place said mower on Auctions International for sale. This resolution requires upon the receipt of a bid offer for the purchase, the town board will review, said bid and authorize the sale. The eventual proceeds of said sale will be used towards the Recreation Department purchase of a new mower.
Moved by Larry, second by Art. Anything on the question? Mike, do you expect to get a lot of money for that?
I don't know, I think I heard that they were going anywhere between like $3,000 and $4,000.
Really? From what I've heard, there's not a lot of life left in it.
They've always got good money on that auction site, so.
Amazing. Okay, if nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from Town Supervisor, Town Attorney, Wendell Engineers. Whereas the town of Wheatfield received a rezoning application from LI2 Holdings LLC for the rezoning of lands within the Woodlands Corporate Center expansion from M1 to PUD to construct patio homes and commercial development, and whereas the Wheatfield Town Board has conducted seeker coordinated process to establish themselves as seeker lead agency and to receive input on the project, and whereas the Planning Board has conducted a preliminary review of the proposed rezoning and development of the site and provided input to the Town Board, and whereas in accordance with Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, State Environmental Quality Review Act of the Environmental Conservation Law, the Wheatfield Town Board has conducted an environmental review of the proposed rezoning and subsequent development of the site, and whereas the town has received no objections to the Town Board acting as seeker lead agency and no adverse comments on the environmental impacts of the project from other permitting or approval agencies, and whereas a public hearing was held regarding the proposed rezoning on November 20th, 2017, and whereas the town has completed Part 2 and 3 of the EAF and have identified no significant environmental impacts, the site was previously approved as an industrial park. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wheatfield Town Board hereby establishes itself as seeker lead agency, and be it further resolved that the Wheatfield Town Board, in accordance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has determined that the proposed rezoning and subsequent development of the site will not adversely affect the natural resources of the state and or the health, safety, and welfare of the public, and is consistent with the social and economic considerations, and therefore issues the attached seeker negative declaration in accordance with Section 617.7 of the seeker regulations, and be it finally resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign the environmental assessment form and will act as the negative declaration.
Does anybody wish to make this motion? Does anybody wish to make this motion? It's only a seeker motion. I'll go ahead and make the motion. We would need a second to proceed. Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? This is not approving the project at this point. This is not approving the rezoning to PUD. This is looking at the zoning, looking at the environmental aspects and not finding any problem with the environmental aspects. Anything else, gentlemen? If not, then all in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Okay, and then there are two late motions. The first one from the Personnel Director. Motion to approve proposed collective bargaining agreement and memo of understanding between the Teamsters Union and the Town of Wheatfield effective January 1st, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Larry, second by Randy. Anything on the question? If nothing on the question, all in favor signify by stating aye.
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 Are there any opposed? I will abstain. 4-0-1, that passes.
And the last motion from Wendell, to authorize Wendell to prepare a sketch UP model and a color rendering of the latest veteran memorial schematic design for a lump sum fee of $1,000 in accordance with the detailed scope in Wendell's letter proposal dated December 4th, 2017.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Second.
Second by Art. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
And I have no further motions.
Well, that one was long enough. Okay, Councilman Helwig.
Oh, I'll start off, Mike Clark, why don't you come on up here?
You need my gavel for the moment?
No. In the basement of Town Hall, the assessor's office and the building office, have a peanut butter and jelly drive.
Yes.
And, what's important about this drive, Pete Robinson from the Niagara County Sheriff's, I think, has been doing this probably for over 10 years. And, I'll just read one sentence on this flyer. It's kind of an important one. Food pantries never have enough peanut butter and jelly to give less fortunate families and kids. It's become very important staple to ensure that healthy kids get a deserved fighting chance. So, I think, Councilman Doucette, I think, Kurt Doctor brought some, but, you can take this, and I encourage, I think they're taking this donation until December 10th. So, anybody in the audience, if you still want to donate, you got 6 days left to donate your peanut butter and jelly. It's going to a good cause. And I think Kurt has some for you too. You strong enough to carry all that?
Lifting weights, yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I know that the town board petitioned to get River Road speed reduced, but the state came back and said they were going to do rumble strips. They actually came through and cut the rumble strips in this past week, and I thought it was kind of neat that they painted after they were done too, so they just didn't leave the dirty etching. But we got nicely painted rumble strips on River Road now, so hopefully that's going to avoid, because we've had several traffic fatalities down in that area, and if this works, it'll be a good thing. If it doesn't, well, we'll be back making another motion to the state to try to get the speed lowered. But hopefully these rumble strips are going to get somebody's attention if they're texting or doing something they shouldn't be doing in their vehicles and crossing the center line.
It is strictly on the center line, correct?
That's all it is on the center line. And it's a double yellow, there's no passing lanes on River Road. Once you leave that North Tonawanda, get to Niagara Falls, it's a double solid yellow line all the way through. And then several departments are here tonight. We have a voice over IP, a phone demonstration tomorrow. I've got a vendor from Albany coming in, but they have offices in Rochester and Buffalo. I've looked at about 6 or 7 different vendors. This is one of my finalists. I got one more vendor that I'm looking at, but we haven't made up our mind on what vendor we're going to use for the voice over IP, the new phone system. As you're aware, most people that use their phones are aware that the current phone system we have doesn't work real well, and we need a new phone system. It's the old Nortel Meridian system that Nortel went basically bankrupt in 2009, and we've got a hodgepodge of a phone system here that's been band-aided, and I think it's DBA or consultants. I think they whenever it breaks, and it breaks a couple times a year where you can't make phone calls, and they got to come in and put more band-aids on it. We just need something, and it's a digital system. It's not going over IP. So this new phone system would be hosted. What we're looking at is a hosted system in the cloud, not on premise. So we won't have servers and other hardware that we have to manage here, because as you're well aware with PCs, every 5 years you got to replace your servers, and someone's on site's got to manage them. So when you buy a system like this that's going to be hosted, you're just paying, and it's looking like it's going to cost about $20-some a phone. So the town looks like we have about 50-some phones. I got to go through all the departments and make sure that every phone that we have, and this is only going to be phones, not fax machines, but we gotta get a complete inventory of phones and what extensions we want, what feature sets we want. They'll all have, caller ID, and, it'll be managed off-site, so we don't need anybody on-site managing our phones. So they'll set it up the way we want it initially, and then as we grow with it, add employees or change duties or functions, or we need to do something different with it, we can always branch out and make changes to the system. So tomorrow at 10:30, she said to plan in about an hour and a half, could be a little longer, but she's going to tell us about all the feature sets. It's a lot different than what you have now. That's why I want everyone there, so you can, once we get this thing up, if you weren't at the meeting, I don't want somebody complaining, oh, I didn't know you were going to be doing that. Well, everybody's going to be at this meeting, so I think it's going to be a good step, but budget-wise, Ed, it looks like it's going to be done less than what we're paying today. So right today, we're paying about probably about $14,000 or more a year, which is about about $1,200 a month and change. And if we have 50 phones times 20, it looks like about $1,000. So we're going to be real close to what we're paying now, but we should have a lot better of a system. And I guess you can save your questions for tomorrow unless anybody has any questions on the new phone system that we're looking at. We don't have a motion to approve anything yet. We'll probably be doing something early January, I'm guessing, but that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Doucette.
From St. Johnsburg Fire Company, they'd like to remove Brian Kiley and Mike Kislak Jr. from the roster, and I'll make that motion.
Second by Art. Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And that's all I have.
Councilman Gerbeck. Councilman Retzlaff.
Just from the Ag Group, thank you for giving us the $750 to try to preserve some farmland here in the town. And that's all I have.
Okay. Next Monday, December 11th, you may have seen on TV where the county clerk, Joe Yastrzemski, is holding meetings where people who have gun permits to carry, have to renew. By law, they have to renew, and you have to renew by the end of January. So he's been going around the county, and next Monday is our turn. So anybody who has any questions or any concerns, if you don't know how to do it, if you don't want to do it, but you don't know if you have to or not, Joe is the expert, and he'll be here at the community center Monday night at 7 o'clock.
On a follow-up, our town clerk, Kathy Knight, she's got a whole two tables full of flyers on everything you want to know about the town, but one of the flyers she has is how to renew your business in the state file. Kathy showed me the flyer, I went home and did it. It took about 10 minutes to get certified on the system, but online and everything. It's real quick. Depends how fast you type. You can type your name and number and all, but if you can type fast, you probably get through it in 5 minutes. But most people will type in about 10 minutes. So it's a pretty quick process.
Yeah, it took me less than that. Name, date of birth, and driver license number.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, there weren't any invasive questions. It's basically just making sure that you have your permit, and then they don't even send you a new permit. They will send you, you will go on their system and you can print off of their system that you did this process in case there's a problem down the road. The one point that Joe made and doesn't have a response to is what happens if you don't do this? As of the last counting, there were about 22,000 left in Niagara County who had not bothered to renew. If you do not renew your permit on February 1st of next year, you don't have a permit. Your permit becomes null and void. Are they going to come chasing people for guns? Probably not, but if you do have an incident happen, who knows what will happen, because you no longer have a permit to carry. So for the few minutes it takes, you can do it on paper. You do not have to do it on computer. But you do have to do it. It is state law. It's part of the SAFE Act. So Monday night, hopefully we'll see a few people there.
And that Jimmy O'Callahan, that's always on the news. He's a good old Wheatfield boy. I don't know if anybody knows that, but he is from the town. He's the spokesman for the state police. You see him on there quite a bit. He's I don't want to say where he lives, but he does live in the town, and it's nice to see a town resident that's moved up with the state police.
Yeah, we used to have the commander lived here in Wheatfield.
Yeah.
That was a few years ago. Okay, next meeting is Monday, the 18th. That's 7:30. There will be a 7:15 preliminary hearing. It's on the Jacob's Ladder project. It's a necessary evil. If anybody wishes to speak well of Jacob's Ladder, if anybody wishes to speak poorly of Jacob's Ladder or this project or what the town is doing with the local development corporation, that's what this public hearing is held for. It's to bring in the public to see if you have anything to say. So that'll be 7:15. We're back to public input. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on any subject? Anybody on any subject? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All in favor of adjourning?